We've talked a lot about AI agents, so autonomous AI systems that eventually can pursue open ended goals and actions, complete tasks for you with minimal human input using a browser, doing digital actions. And over the past couple years, we've definitely seen some advances in AI agent like capabilities like chain of thought prompting, the ability of AI to use tools, and multi agent architectures. Now we're hearing from OpenAI President Greg Brockman that agents are an integral part of where OpenAI and AI in general is going. So recently he posted, quote, as models continue to become much more capable, we expect they'll start being integrated with the world more deeply. Users will increasingly interact with systems composed of many multimodal models plus tools, which can take actions on their behalf rather than talking to a single model with just text inputs and outputs. Now, that's very aspirational and kind of future looking, but in a recent article in Forbes, noted venture capitalist Rob Toes actually got into the weeds on where AI agents are starting to show particular promise when it comes to actual use cases and the startups driving those. So I just want to go through a few examples that he cites here and then kind of talk through where we're actually at when it comes to AI agents and these AI systems that are increasingly going to be doing the work that people do. So Toes outlines a few areas where he's seeing some interesting successes. So first up is customer support. So companies like Klarna, who we've talked about, are using AI agents to automate customer service. They're handling millions of conversations. According to Klarna, they're driving significant cost savings. There's some startups in this space like Sierra, Decagon, and Maven AGI that he cites that are building specialized agent solutions. He also says regulatory compliance is a big area. AI agents are well suited to handle structured, repeatable compliance workflows. So some startups like Norm AI and Greenlight AI are developing agents in that space. Data science is also a huge area. Delphina is one startup building agents to handle the full data science lifecycle, and personal assistants. So AI personal assistants that basically can help you perform tasks in your day. Some startups like Mindy and Aria are developing agent-based assistants. And of course, and we're going to talk about, AI is being built increasingly into the apps that you use with platforms like Google, Microsoft, etc. So to kind of tie all this together, Paul, there's no question the major AI labs are working on agents. We're starting to see some startups enter the space. Like when you look at this in a practical sense, as a business owner, leader, investor, like what does the near-term landscape for agents and the startups trying to build them look like in your mind?
I was thinking about this one coming into today's episode. I just went back to the AI timeline episode 87 from March, and I was revisiting the notes we had around AI agents explosion. And so I feel like I'll just recap what I said back then because I don't know that I've changed my position at all about where we are yet. So what I said then was 2025 to 2027 is when you would see AI agents really become viable and just like change the way work was done. So the notes I had was lots of talk about agents that can take action, like using your keyboard and mouse this year in 2024. But we're mostly going to see experimentations and demonstrations that are maybe the equivalent of like GPT-1, GPT-2 level, meaning very early versions of AI agents, very unreliable, but early. Um, there would be lots of manual work to get the agents to function reliably, which I am guessing is true in all of the examples you just listed and all the companies that we're talking about, plus lots of human oversight of these agents because they're nowhere close to full autonomy yet. And most people generally won't be willing to give up the data and privacy needed to get the benefits. Starting in 2025, AI can now take actions reliably with limited human oversight, probably in select domains or verticals, initially, then more generally horizontally capable, which kind of plays out what you're saying. You're like building these ones specific into industry. So we're starting to see the early levels of this is my assumption. Some early instances of full autonomy, start to occur, i.e. humans provide the goal desired outcome. The AI agent does all the work with no additional human input. And then disruption to knowledge work starts to become more tangible and measurable because the AI agents are the kind of the key to true disruption to knowledge work. So we talked in the Apple Intelligence episode about like your iPhone might be the earliest interactions many of us will have with, real AI agents, where your phone maybe has access to the different apps and can actually work within them, almost like functioning as though you're touching the screen and going from app to app and clicking around. So we're going to probably start to see elements of that. I think people who want to understand what AI agents are or will be, you can probably just play around with Claude's artifacts and like see how it's going through steps to build things for you. You give it a prompt, it doesn't just give you a text output, it actually builds things. It's writing code, it's creating things. Perplexity, since they made the update to Perplexity Pro, where it'll show you all the steps it's going through. It's the same idea that this thing doesn't just output something. It actually goes through, creates its own task list, not a human created task list. It doesn't do 10 things a human programmed it to do. It actually creates steps and goes and does something. And then I thought it would be helpful to just provide a little bit of context as to what exactly it is we're talking about. So I went back to World of Bits, which is something that we talked about in February 2023. I think I'll have to go see what episode this was. But I wrote something called World of Bits and What It Means to Marketing and Business. So that article in February 23 started with, we are so caught up right now in figuring out AI writing tools and large language models that most marketing and business leaders, as well as SaaS executives and investors, are missing the bigger picture. This is all just the foundation for what comes next. So again, this is kind of what I was trying to say in the previous topic, where if you rewind back to February 2023, and all anybody was thinking about was that these things could write articles, like output text, and their entire business plan and strategy was around creation of text. And they didn't realize at the time that for 6 years, all of the research labs have been working on AI agents that could take action, and they had had breakthroughs. So in February 23, we're looking at saying, hey, wait, like, don't get caught up in just language models. Like, this is just step one. They're going to become multimodal and they're going to be able to do things. But again, at that time, most people, it's just too abstract because they hadn't seen it yet. So that post went on to explore early work from Andrej Karpathy, who we talk about all the time, during his first stint at OpenAI. So in a 2017 research paper titled World of Bits, an open domain platform for web-based agents, Karpathy and other authors explored the potential of agents to complete tasks such as booking flights and completing forms through simulated usage of a keyboard and mouse. They made progress, but obstacles remained. In the conclusion of their paper, they said, we tried to do this World of Bits thing, basically. There is an opportunity here, but the gap between, this is how they ended it, the gap between agents and humans remains large and welcomes additional modeling advances. So in 2017, they had the vision to give these AIs the ability to take action, but the technological capabilities weren't there. Then in October 2022, Karpathy did an interview with Lex Friedman, and he applied on that interview. So this was right before he went back to OpenAI for a year. He implied that those barriers were now gone. He said, when I was at OpenAI, I was working on this project, World of Bits, and basically it was an idea of giving neural networks access to the keyboard and mouse. And the idea is that basically you perceive the input of the screen pixels and the state of the computer is visualized for human consumption in images in the browser and things like that. And then you give the network the ability to press the keyboard and use the mouse. World of Bits was too early at OpenAI, and this is around 2015 when he started working on it. He then said it is time to revisit that, and OpenAI is interested in this. Companies like Adept, who we talked about last week, got acqui-hired by Amazon, are interested in this and so on. And the idea is coming back because the interface is very powerful. And then he said, this is the real key. You are taking the GPT as the initialization. So what they didn't have in 2015 was the transformer. They didn't have large language models. By 2022, we were on the precipice of ChatGPT being released. Keep in mind, this is a month before ChatGPT was being released, which he knew was coming. And he said, you're going to take the GPT as the initialization. The GPT is pre-trained on all the text and eventually all the images. and it understands what a booking is. It understands what a submit is. It understands quite a bit more. And so he then also tweeted a follow-on paper that someone else published. And in that paper's conclusion, in February 22, this was, humans use digital devices for billions of hours every day, your computer, your phone, your iPad. If we can develop agents that can assist with even a tiny fraction of these tasks, we can hope to enter a virtuous cycle of agent assistance, followed by human feedback on failures, and hence to agent improvement and new capabilities. This is what they're working on. This is what everyone's been working on since 2015, that they know humans doing cognitive tasks spend billions of hours collectively every day, and that if they could build agents that could do those tasks for the humans, it would unlock all kinds of possibilities. So this is what they are all chasing. It's what they've all been chasing. Right now, these agents are imprecise. They are error prone. They lose focus as task lists grow. They have limited memories. They lack common sense and intuition. They're largely black boxes, so it's difficult to interpret why they do or how they do what they do. But the assumption Schulman and others are making is that all of that is solvable. All of that will change. And once that changes, once they solve these things, then an intelligence explosion occurs. And everything we talk about in the AI timeline becomes true. And what Schulman is presenting all of the sudden starts to make way more sense. And if economists and business leaders don't start thinking about those possibilities now, it's going to get ugly in 18 or 24 months when the reality hits that, again, they're telling us this is what you should look at. I always go back to that Sam Altman article, like Moore's Law for Everything in 2021, where he told everybody this was coming. Think, create, understand, reason. They're going to be able to do it all. And people are like, whatever, Sam. Like the average business leader, like, didn't even know who Sam Altman was at that point. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like this is 2016 all over for me again. Like, I'm sitting here looking at this thing. Okay, this all seems really obvious. Like, every one of these researchers is saying the same thing. Like, they're all telling us this is all going to happen. And people just keep making plans for 2025 like it's 2020. And like, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty normal in what we do and follow. I feel that like once a week easily.